Beneath the quiet streets of Brooklyn Heights lay a maze of secret tunnels. Tunnels leading to a locked room almost no one in the outside world had ever seen.
There are 6 buildings that are connected through tunnels underground. And so, if a buyer is not interested in purchasing multiple buildings, the sale of the properties are going to disconnect those tunnels.
New York City law requires we fill those up with concrete. We didn't anticipate that. Once we fill those tunnels, that cuts off the utilities to the rest of the buildings. So how do you heat the other buildings? How do you keep their electricity, their communication going?
In the 1990s, a young witness by the name of Tran discovered that room inside the Watchtower's headquarters. What he found shattered his faith. And by the end of this video, you understand why the Jehovah's Witnesses organization fought too hard to keep this room secret. If you are new here, welcome to my channel, which most religious leaders wish you never discover. I'm Dr. K. In addition to 3 other degrees, I hold 2 PhDs and a degree in theology with distinction. But forget about these degrees. What sets this channel apart is our pursuit for the truth. Here, you get what religious institutions are desperate to keep hidden: documented evidence, insider leaks, and deep investigations exposing how religious organizations twist scripture and manipulate millions. Every video peels back the layer, revealing tactics, cover-ups, and the real story behind the doctrine. If you are ready to see what they are hiding, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss what is coming next. The deeper we dig, the more shocking it gets. And trust me, you are not prepared for what is coming next. For Jehovah's Witnesses, Bethel isn't just a place. It's an ultimate spiritual calling.
So, Aiden, what you been up to lately?
Well, I'm about to graduate soon.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait. And, I'm thinking about applying to Bethel.
Okay, Bethel. All right, really?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it since I was a kid.
Okay.
Bethel's nice, but you got to think about your future.
Yeah.
How will you support yourself, or how would you support a wife after Bethel?
You can still serve Jehovah right here.
Satan has always done this. He tried to tempt Jesus with what the world could offer, but Jesus didn't focus on himself. He focused on Jehovah and doing his will. That's what I'm gonna do.
Submitting your application may open a door of opportunity to serve Jehovah and his organization in a variety of ways.
When Howie arrived at the age 18, he felt chosen, one among the few, to go to the Vatican of the Jehovah's Witnesses itself. Bethel was a city within a city, every hallway echoing with purpose, every faith believing they were building paradise on earth. Howie said, "I thought I was working in God's house."
I wanted to be a pioneer because pioneers were the spiritual people in the congregation. They were the ones that were devoting themselves to the preaching work. And the preaching work was what Jehovah God wanted you to do.
So in 1995, with his family's encouragement, he applied to live and work at headquarters, what Jehovah's Witnesses call Bethel, the house of God. If he got accepted, he would devote all of his time and labor to Jehovah, maybe for the rest of his life.
And I remember being so happy when I got my letter. And we warmly welcome you to the regular pioneer ranks. I made it. I was in the ranks.
There was no greater honor for a Jehovah's Witness. Howie was just 19 when he said goodbye to his mother and left for New York City.
Everything felt sacred, purposeful. Bethel ran like a well-oiled machine. Thousands of volunteers keep it moving. Cleaning, cooking, printing millions of magazines. All had signed a vow of poverty. In exchange, they received a room, board, and they believed that they were serving God's purpose.
But you believe in the work. I believed that the work we were doing was important, that it was life-saving. And Armageddon, the end of the world, the tribulation is imminent. It's going to happen any moment now. And the only people to survive are going to be Jehovah's Witnesses, period. Nobody else.
The assignment that changed everything. After a year and a half, Howie was chosen for a rare assignment, an honor, assisting the governing body, the men regarded as God's voice, the channel through whom God speaks to people on earth. He delivered their mail, wheeled them through Brooklyn.
Howie had been at Bethel for a year and a half, working menial jobs. That's when the governing body approached him to ask for his help. Most of the leaders there were in their 80s or 90s and needed help with basic things like walking and reading their mail. For Howie, it was an enormous, almost unbelievable honor. He slips into character as he tells me about handing out Bible literature with one of the men, Carl Klein.
And he said to me, I can walk, but people, if you're in a wheelchair, they listen.
But nothing prepared him for what was coming next. These weren't just men. They were God's chosen messengers. The forbidden room. One afternoon, Howie was handed a letter questioning every teaching he would have devoted his life to. Expecting to be told to destroy it, he was instead led to a tunnel through a locked door into a secret library. What was in this secret library? Howie must have wondered.
Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the governing body are anointed, that they're God's channel to followers on earth. And Howie knew these guys as people. Like Carl Klein, the governing body member in the wheelchair, Howie was with him the day his faith began to unravel. He was reading a letter to Klein from a Jehovah's Witness disputing some of the religion's key tenets.
And I thought, for sure, he would want me to shred it. And the shredder was right there next to his desk because, this is apostate stuff for sure.
Inside, he found an apostate library. Books, letters, and files the organization had warned would destroy the member's life. Yet, here they were, preserved by the very leaders who insisted they must never be read. Why hide these books? Why keep them locked away? You have to understand that apostasy is the scariest word among Jehovah's Witnesses. Some don't even want to mention the word. Instead, they've abbreviated to the letter A. Here is a clip from Light Over Dark, a discussion that DH had with Blue, a former JW. And here is what Blue said about the Jehovah's Witnesses' view of apostasy.
Yeah, it's interesting because they've almost used this label and put it on people who leave to speak out against the organization to demonize them, to villainize them. It almost creates a boogeyman, if you will. And there's actually something I had wrote down, a number of different adjectives, a number of pejoratives, if you will, that the organization has attached to apostates. So someone such as myself, my wife, literally hundreds of thousands of other people who've left the organization and been like, hey, there's a lot of things not right here. The organization has labeled us, all of us, as evil, detestable, enemies of God, deserving of death, and mentally diseased. Which mentally diseased, honestly, that's almost one of the more insulting ones, because there's people that are dealing with real mental illnesses, both in the organization and outside the organization. And honestly, disagreeing with like a bunch of older dudes in New York isn't a mental illness. That's not a disease. So it's very, very insensitive, the way they label anybody who disagrees with them.
Well, that's kind of the high control group's MO. Like, you can't have a high control group without having an apostate. And that's one of their biggest foundations, is to protect information. I mean, it makes sense. If it's, hey, we know this is wrong, but we can't tell everybody it's wrong. So what do you do? Well, make sure no one else hears this. Even dictatorships do this, right? Like, go to North Korea. It's the exact same thing. We don't, America's evil. All those places are evil. It's like, well, how do I know? Oh, don't get information from them, because any information you get, it's going to be wrong.
The moment of doubt. The question haunted Howie every hour at presses. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong.
Howie says he and Klein took the letter straight to Bethel's librarian.
Not for destruction, but for archiving.
The librarian took the letter to a small locked room.
And in this room were partially filled bookshelves. And it was a small apostate library. And here they kept for reference the various publications of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that they viewed as apostates.
Howie freaked out. There was almost nothing worse a Jehovah's Witness could do than read the writing of an apostate.
What if our belief system isn't ironclad, as I've always believed? You know, what if, for example, what if we're wrong about the New World? What if I am waiting for a cure that does not exist? Well, wouldn't that be sad? Because I've wasted my life.
Once you've seen what is locked behind the door, you can't pretend you haven't. Walking away from everything. Leaving Bethel meant that Howie would lose everything. His home, his friends, his entire world. But questions were too loud to ignore. I walked away, Howie said. Not just from Bethel, but from everything I thought I knew. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Leaving Bethel meant losing my job and losing my home. So it was a struggle at first. And then, of course, when I disassociated myself a few months later, it meant losing my family and all of my friends. And so I was alone, and I had to prepare myself, and it took time.
Life after headquarters. Today, Howie lives quietly outside the faith. He shares his story, not as an attack, but to show how information can be controlled when questioning is discouraged. Now remember that I am not here to attack the Jehovah's Witnesses members. Most of the Jehovah's Witnesses genuinely believe that they are serving Jehovah. They also believe that the governing body are servants of God appointed by Jesus himself in 1919 to provide spiritual food at the right time. My contention is with the leaders and those who help them, who know the truth and are hiding it away from the members. If you are watching this and you have questions, know that you are not alone. This video is based on the publicly available investigative audio story about the former Jehovah's Witnesses volunteer Howie Tran, who lived and worked at the Watchtower's Brooklyn headquarters known as Bethel. His account, first reported in review episode from the Center for Investigation Reporting. What would you do if you found your faith secrets locked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you know someone questioning their beliefs, share this video with them. You might be the key to that locked door. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. Many people don't even pass 2 minutes. I appreciate your viewership. Kindly do me a favor if you've already not done it. Like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell so that the message in this video will reach more people. With all the changes that are taking place in the Watchtower Society, have you ever wondered how the organization will look by 2030? I have 3 videos that answer that question. And to watch them, click on this playlist.